Hello, lovely people. Welcome to my channel. It's Hila here, Saturday Night Stitch, and thank you so much for tuning in. For today, I'm just going to be showing you some of the things that I have made in January, February, and March. I haven't been able to sew anything in April at all because I've been quite busy. And then I'm going to show you, so I made 3 dresses in total. The fourth one was the Bird 10 2021 20 dress, which I showed in a separate video of its own because that was like an epic make. So I've got the 3 dresses to show you, and then I've got 2 tops which I realized I made last year, but I didn't actually get to share them on the channel. So we're going to be sharing them today. The first thing is a Minerva kit. So Minerva kits are this innovation by Minerva whereby every couple of months they release a kit which includes pattern, fabric, thread, buttons, everything, interfacing, everything that you actually need to make the garment itself, the project itself. And it's a very refreshing way of sewing because you don't actually have the excuses to say, oh, I need to get the perfect button or the perfect zip. Certainly for me, I found that that's always been kind of like the roadblock sometimes for me when I have been sewing, where I will slow down because I'm thinking about, have I got the right interfacing? Have I got the right sort of snap fastener? But with the Minerva kits, they put everything in one for you. So this was one of the things that I made for the Minerva kits, and it's the Shelby, the True Bias Shelby romper dress. And I will show you, now let's use this side. And so I'll put over here the little bits of me in the dress moving around. But so basically, this is the dress here. It's got these princess seam lines at the back, and it's also got princess seam lines at the front, and you've got like this long facing that goes over there. It comes in different length, and I made the shortest length, and I feel like it's just a little bit too short for me. So whenever I actually wear it, I have to wear it with tights because it's just a little bit on the shorter side. It's got a very 90s retro vibe to it, which is a very nice, comfortable, wearable dress. I think that is perfect for things like picnics and stuff like that. I particularly liked the fabric. So the fabric is a John Caldwell crepe fabric. So it's got like this really beautiful drape and this really lovely smooth feel. The print itself is a black and white, and it's very abstract. So even though the brush strokes create some softness, you still have the high contrast between the white bits and the black bits. So I think that it creates like a really lovely interest. So yeah. So that was the Shelby dress, which was a Minerva kit. So if you go onto the Minerva website, you're able to just, type in Minerva kits or hashtag Minerva kits, and you'll be able to get that. Dress number 2 is this really, really gorgeous dress from for 2020. So I think that this is for 2020 number 111. I'll put the correct number over here. But I love it. It's the Julia Roberts dress from that issue that did like a Screen Legends dresses. So it also had the Audrey Hepburn 50 style dress and things like that. And this one particularly caught my eye. And I've since seen so many people within the bird sewing community make this dress. It has quickly become one of the popular patterns that a lot of people have made. And it seems to look different in any different kind of fabric, and it's just so beautiful. So the thing that I did do to it was I added pockets because pockets are everything, and because the fabric is a really lovely lightweight viscose challis, I reinforced the pockets using some stay tape here, which you absolutely need to do because challis is such a beautiful drapey fabric. The moment you go on the bias there and you sew on the bias, it's fine. But if you're going to put any strain on it, it will create some gape. And I found that the best way to deal with that is to just put some interfacing on there just to reinforce. It's got an elasticated casing over here, which just adds to comfort. So it's a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance over here. You finish it and then you sort of like roll it over and then you stitch it down, leaving an opening for you to thread through. It's got an all-in-one facing finish with a button. So I used a hook and eye. The actual pattern instructions ask you to use a loop, but I decided to use a hook and eye. But it's such a gorgeous, I love the arm's eye on this. I just love how it just, cuts out and shows the shoulder. I just followed the pattern exactly as is for the skirt, but I've seen certainly some people making it even more of a circle skirt. Some people have made it into a tiered skirt. So many options for this, and it just looks so gorgeous. And on top of that, it's so easy to make. It comes together so quickly. I made my usual bird size 38, and the fit is true to size. Very separately with the Shelby dress, I selected the size based on the table measurements, and the fit is as expected. So I chose the one that was closest to my bust, and I think that the fit was quite good. Okay, dress number 3 is the Avid Seamstress, the Sun dress, and I love this pattern so much. The first time that I made it in a rayon challis, so it creates a very drapey, beautiful silhouette. And I used an art gallery fabric that was very segmented because it had the brush strokes with the splodges of color. And I think it was called paparones. Don't quote me on that. But this one is made in a more structured fabric. So it's a cotton poplin, and it's an art gallery fabric called Aquarelle. And it's because it's got like these really beautiful aqua colors, so like the blues and the light blues and the turquoises, and then you've got the poses of flowers. Really, really gorgeous. And a lot of detail went into this particular dress. So as you can see on the inside, I used a pink Tanalon. This is a Liberty Tanalon, and I had to do some hand sewing. And I don't know why for the life of me, but every time it comes to doing the inner band here, I seem to mess it up. I really do seem to mess it up. So as you can see, I somehow attached it wrong. And so I had to clip, and then do some hand sewing. But hand sewing is really fantastic because it can cover a multitude of sins. I did the same mistake with my first one, which I've had for years now. And I've washed it over and over again because I get a lot of wear of it in summer. And it's still fine. So I did the same fix. I don't know, 3 times will be the charm. So I definitely need to make this dress a 3rd time to actually get that section perfect. Apart from that, I'm very happy with everything else. So for the zipper at the back, I even hand sewed some bias binding here just so that this doesn't scratch up against me. And it's got pockets. I did change the pocket pattern piece, though. I think I used my standard pocket pattern piece because I thought that pocket pattern piece was possibly not deep enough for me because I do use my pockets. And really, really gorgeous. The one thing that I would say if you're making this dress, really take your time with the instructions. Really make sure that you take your time to read the instructions and then read them again. And then whilst you're sewing, just do them again because there's certain sections that have got different seam allowances. So if you're not used to that, you might automatically go in sewing with a 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, but the section actually requires a 3/8 of an inch or even smaller, and then it's kind of like a big boo-boo. So do check that out. I used some vintage buttons, and I love these buttons so much. My mother-in-law got me a birthday present last year, which was just a big box of these vintage buttons that she picked up from a charity shop. And it's got like the most beautiful buttons. And this is one of them. And it's got like this texture here. Really, really gorgeous. And it just went really well with this. But I love this dress so much. And every time that I've worn it, so I've worn it about 3 times since I finished it for like some lunches at church and some tea meetings. And every time I wear it, it's just like, oh my gosh, it's such a gorgeous dress. Mind you, that might just be because we're still early in the season and there isn't a lot of color about. And so I was walking around with some color. But anyway, it feels so good to wear and it is very, very comfortable. Okay, now we move on to the tops. Really, really gorgeous tops here. This is from Trend Patterns and it's the raglan. I think it's the raglan dress or the raglan thingy, the raglan sleeve. Something or the other. It's got raglan in the name of the pattern. But what we have here made this in a silk, and this just feels so lush against the skin. It is so beautiful. It's got some raglan sleeves, as you can see, and it's got a really high neck. And there's some gathering along here to give it. It's a very blousonier, a very full kind of blouse, and it has elasticated cuffs. Now, granted, the cuffs on the original pattern, you're supposed to use like a thicker elastic, but I didn't do that. I just used Nika elastic, and that was fine. For interfacing, since this was a silk chiffon, I actually used silk organza on the inside to interface, and that's something that I read in the Claire Schaefer Couture sewing book, which is a really, really excellent book. And that's if you're sewing with silk chiffon to use organza for the interfacing. And it does the trick. I wasn't sure how that would work because I'm so used to using fusible interfacing. But I knew that fusible interfacing wasn't going to work on this lovely lightweight diaphanous fabric because the glue would just come through. And it really does. So that's been interfaced, got silk organza. So there's just a piece of silk organza inside it that has just been folded under. And it just, look at how that corner just holds up like that when you think about how it is a silk chiffon. So gorgeous. I had so much fun sewing this because the fabric is so beautiful in itself, and it whispers. It sort of like does this whispery sound, and when you're wearing it, the way that it just sort of, you know, caresses your skin. I don't know, there's something really, really beautiful about silk chiffon. So I made the top version. You can make the skirt version, sorry, not the skirt, the dress version, which goes all the way down. And the dress version does have pockets, and it's a really, really beautiful, simple style top, but quite impactful if you use a lovely fabric with it. So quite like this one. And then we have the pièce de résistance. Is another Liberty silk, except for this time it's silk crepe de chine. So it's got a little bit more volume to it. It's not quite as diaphanous, as lightweight, as ethereal as the silk chiffon. This one's got more substance to it. And I made this top here, and this is from Burda 2013. I think it's 9/2013 or 9/2012. So it's an older Burda pattern, but I love how it's turned out. So it's got a very unique construction for the sleeve. It looks like it might have a raglan sleeve because the armsole sort of like goes away over there, but it doesn't. It goes like this, and then you have part of the sleeve is open, and then you finish it off like that. It's a really, really interesting construction. So what it means is you've got a very structured sleeve, very, very structured. So with your normal sleeve, you sort of like you create a more rounded, a more curved one, but because of this, it's more straight and then down. And crepe de chine does a good job of holding that curve, so it gives like a shoulder emphasis. And then when it comes to the blousoniness, you know, it's got the beautiful drape for it. Really, really fantastic. I did make one very, very big boo-boo with it though, which I hope you won't make if you're ever using the Strawberry Thief. So Strawberry Thief, the William Morris print, is my favorite, one of my favorite Liberty prints. There's something about it that I love so much. And however, I spent so much time thinking about how to do the pattern matching and exactly which point of the strawberries and the birds that I was going to position. I didn't realize that one of them, I actually cut it upside down. It is directional. And the worst part was that it was the front pattern piece that I cut upside down. And because this is Liberty silk, right? You're not going to let something like an upside down bird stop you from making it, because you're not going to waste silk like that. So I went ahead, I mushed forward, and I made it with that big boo-boo. So as you can see here, and 10 points if you actually noticed this before, but as you can see here, the birds are upside down. And on the back, the birds are the right side up. It's a big boo-boo, but I think that I can get away with it because of how busy the print is. And honestly, if somebody ever comes up to me and says, "Hi, Sally, did you notice that the birds are upside down in your blouse?" I'll be like, "Really?" Just leave it at that. But despite that, I really, really loved it. And I used a contrasting, Liberty Tana lawn for the collar, making it really nice. And I also used the Tana lawn on the cuffs, and that just gives it like some nice contrast. I usually would wear this with navy bottom, so either the navy skirt that you saw in the video over here, or I've got like this pair of navy, like really deep indigo denim jeans, high-waisted skinny jeans from Levi's, and those look really nice with it as well, because then it creates like this really blousey effect. And those are the only two ways that I tend to actually wear it. Very quickly, I nearly forgot to show you this because I made this lady skater dress for my daughters, and I used this fabric. It's a really lovely digital print cotton jersey that I got from Fabrics for All, and I got the cuffing as well, which is in a red. And when I initially bought this, I hadn't had my colors done, and even though I loved the print and whatever, it actually really doesn't, the colors are not for me. So I thought, instead of making myself a skirt or something like that, that I would make the girls a dress, and they love it. The only problem has been that they keep on having to take turns to wear it, because ideally when I make dresses for them, I should make a pair for them. But yeah, it's the Lady Skater dress, which is a pattern I highly recommend. I have literally made every size of the Lady Skater dress, because it starts from 1 year old or 2 year old, and then it's like 3, 4, 5, 6, and each year I have made them. And now this is the size 8, which is the last band on the girls' dress. So I'll have to see about getting them the next one that goes up. But yeah, it's really, really gorgeous. And the fabric really washes well. So they've been wearing this for several months now, and it's been washed. And this is it washed and tumble dried, and it hasn't even been ironed at all. So yeah, really great fabric. I'm very happy with that. Okay, so those are the things that I made for Berda. I'm also wearing a Berda top. I think this one is from Berda 2017. I think, yeah, and I made it like cotton poplin, but I'd forgotten about this top, but I dug it up when I was going through my wardrobe, and I quite like it. It's quite bright and summery. But thank you if you stayed until the end. I really do appreciate you. Hopefully you found the video entertaining, useful, informative, and if you did, please do give the video a big thumbs up, and also do consider subscribing. As I said, I love sewing. I talk about sewing a lot, and a lot of sewing content comes on here. So if that's your jam, just make it official. Do like and subscribe. And it also supports the channel because of the YouTube algorithm that we have to feed in order for things to happen for the channel. So again, I thank you so much for that. And until I see you next time, lovely people, happy sewing. Bye.